control to the locator. And let's keep going. So for my elbow, I'm going to, what should we do for the elbow? Let's make a triangle. Yeah, let's go into front view. Let's do that. I'm gonna have a triangle. So we're gonna go to Create, Curve Tool, CV Curve 1 Linear. We're gonna press X, and we're gonna make a triangle. Yay. See? Nope. There we go. All right, so we are going to History, Freeze Transformations. We'll do that again. And we'll call this CC underscore L underscore elbow 01. And we are going to snap it to the elbow and then Freeze Transformations again. Go into component mode. Make it smaller. Move it back. Now, we could also just keep it around our control. In fact, usually for FKs, they'll be surrounding the object. Like, so, I mean, I'm just trying to make it kind of look a little bit like the FKs, but you know, if you're uncomfortable with that, why don't we just make them simple circles and go from there? You could change your mind. We need to rotate this in the Z, Freeze Transformations, delete history. And then we're just gonna Freeze Transformations again after we snapped it to the joint. And then I'm going to mirror it as soon as I name it. So this is gonna be CC underscore L underscore elbow 01. So I changed my mind on how I wanted my elbow control to look. It's not a big deal. We're gonna MRT it and rename it. So it's for the right side. All right, I'm going to duplicate the elbow on the left and snap it to the wrist, and we are going to rename it wrist 01. Then we're going to mirror it and change it to the right side. Okay. Let's save this because we haven't saved anything. So we're going to save this as arm controls FKs 01. All right, and now we are going to save it immediately as version 2 as we continue on. Okay, so let's get all of these working with one another. So I'm going to use my LAT tool, and I'm going to make this 0.5. And I'm going to then, with my locator selected, shift select the joint, constrain orient, and then going to select my locator, shift select my control, hit P to parent. Let's do it on the wrist. Let's do it the old-fashioned way, or the long way. So I'm going to make a locator, oopsie, snap it to the wrist, name it locori underscore L underscore wrist 01. I need to orient or make it smaller, so 0.5 in its local scale X, Y, and Z, and then orient it to the wrist. So I'm going to select the joint, select the locator, constrain orient it. Then I'm going to delete the constraint. Then I'm going to select the locator, shift select the joint, and orient constraint. And now it should work. And it does. So now with my locator selected, I'm going to shift select the control. I need to freeze transformations on my control. All right, double check that. All right, so with my locator selected, shift select my control, hit P to parent, and my control is now driving the locator. Let's save. All right, but they're not all working in conjunction with one another. So in order for these all to work in conjunction with one another, first off, I'm going to select my wrist control, shift select my elbow control, and hit P to parent. Then I'm going to select my elbow control, shift select my shoulder control, P to parent. And then I'm going to select my shoulder control, shift select my clavicle control, and P to parent. So now when I select my clavicle control, it moves everything. I can select my all three of these, actually four, I can't count, and they'll move in conjunction with one another. I just select my shoulder control, it's just going to select the shoulder. So it's moving forward down the limbs. All right, let's show my character. Uh-oh, so these are not big enough. So I'm going to select this guy and drag select all the vertices and make it so that my animator could actually select this. What a concept. I'm then going to make it blue. All right, the wrist control seems to be fairly easily selectable. I've made it blue. Let's do the right-hand side, and then in the next section, we'll go over the fingers. So let's do the right-hand side. So the right-hand side is pretty similar. We're going to do LAT, oriented correctly, make it smaller, and with the locator selected, shift select the joint, constrain orient. Then select the locator, shift select the control, P to parent. All right, then we're going to move to this one, which I'm going to make red right now. So I'm going to select the joint, hit LAT, rescale it to 0.5 in its local scale. With the locator selected, shift select the joint, constrain orient. Then just select the locator, shift select the control, P to parent. They should work. They do. Elbow, LAT, local scale X, Y, and Z, make it smaller. You don't have to, I want to. With locator selected, shift select the joint, constrain orient. Then just select the locator, shift select the control, P to parent. All right, for our last one, let's select our wrist, LAT, select the locator. I'm going to make mine smaller. And then I'm going to shift select my joint, constrain orient. Then I'm just going to select my locator, shift select my control, hit P to parent. So if I test this out, it works. All right, with my control selected, actually before I select my control, let's make this other control bigger. I'm going to do that. Go to right view. Perfect. And we're going to make it red. Okay, so we're also going to make our wrist red. And with the wrist selected, shift select the elbow control and hit P to parent. Select the elbow control, then shift select the shoulder control, hit P to parent. And select the shoulder control, shift select the clavicle control, hit P to parent, and save. And then I would test it out. That's great. Awesome. Perfect. And then we can zero everything out as we need to. All right, to clean up these controls, we only need these controls to rotate. So I'm going to select all the controls on my right-hand side and lock and hide scale invisibility. And then I'm going to, starting with the wrist, go up the chain and select, or down the chain, all of my controls on my left-hand side and lock and hide scale and visibility. And the reason I started with the children first is when you select the parent, it gives a false impression that everything's selected and it's not. All right, and then lastly, we've got to make it so these guys move in conjunction with the entire body. So we are going to select the upper body control. So we selected both, shift selected both our clavicle controls and then our upper body control. Uh-oh, P to parent, what happened? So let's take a look at this. Well, it looks like everything's fine on this side. We got some funky stuff. Oh, I know what's going on. I know what happened. I'm silly. I'm going to select my group of my clavicle and then parent it to my upper body control. So if you have a group, you need to select the group, and then we don't have any weird, crazy things happen. But I'm glad I actually discovered that. All right, so we're almost done, and when we continue on, we will be creating the FK controls for our fingers.